ॐ जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। O gods, may we always hear with our ears what is auspicious. O worshipful ones, may we with our eyes always see what is auspicious. May we live our allotted life hale and hearty, offering our worship unto Thee. May Indra of ancient fame bestow auspiciousness on all of us. May the all-nourishing portion be propitious to all of us. May Garuda, the destroyer of all evil, be well disposed towards all of us. May Brihaspati ensure all our welfare. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. We have been studying the Amrita Bindu Upanishad. In our yesterday class, we have been seeing the description of Paramatma, Atma, the self, with various examples. So if there is reflection of the moon in any number of pots, so due to movement of the pots, the moon appears to be moving, and Sri Ramakrishna interestingly gives the same example, excepting he substitutes the moon with the sun. And this is a pure Vedantic conception. So he illustrates this beautiful truth, same thing that is reflected here, or Sri Ramakrishna reflects it, whichever way. Supposing there are 10 pots and one sun. How many suns are there? And the reply is 1 real sun and 10 reflected ones. Suppose you break one pot, then 9 reflected suns and 1 real sun. Suppose you break 9 pots, 1 reflected sun and 1 real sun. And the last 10th pot is also destroyed. How many suns? And immediately the devotee answers, 1 sun. And Sri Ramakrishna comes out with the most marvelous thing, that when the 10th pot, who is that 10th pot? You are that 10th pot. So you will not be there to say that there is 1 sun. This is our condition. We are saying there is Brahman, he is one and he is everywhere. And this to look, to see, to experience, to interact, this divine godliness everywhere, that's our spiritual practice. But once the spiritual practice is gone, then there is no practitioner, there is no Brahman, because there is no duality whatsoever, and all duality springs only from the mind. This is a beautiful idea presented here in our last 14th mantra. Ghatavat vividhakaram vidyamanam punah punah tad bhagnam nacha janati sa janati cha nityashaha. Here the example is of space. So wherever there is a pot, there would be space. Now we have to probe further. where is this space? Generally say there is a pot space, means within this pot. But what about outside? Pot is outside, there is space. And the space is inside. What happens in the middle? Pot is there, or the walls of the outer crust of the pot. But we have to understand, and in order to understand, we will have to recollect the process of creation, that the space has come from Atman, and the Atman manifests, not comes out and remains separate, but like clay manifesting as the pot, Atman manifests with a name and with a gunas, etc. There the form is very minute. It has a form because we are distinguishing it from the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. To distinguish, we require a particular form, particular qualities. So there is a form, but for the sake of illustration, it is taken as formless, because we can't give the illustration of the Atman, because that is not in our experience. So imagine there are 100 pots, and these pots are being broken one by one. Now the space within the pot doesn't feel that, oh, how marvelous it is, now I have become one with the space outside. Until now, I am separate. The space is inseparable, because there is a marvelous psychological fact. That which is partless cannot be made into parts. Space is partless. Similarly, even air also is partless only. Fire also is partless only. Water is also partless only. Everything is partless only. Very interesting. Swamiji points out, you say, I am an individual. When did you become individual? At this moment, you are not an individual. We use the word individual. Means I am one among many. But really speaking, indivisibility, individuality, that is called individual. No duality is there. We are using that word, and with regard to what? Not with regard to body, mind, or external object, but with regard to that pure I consciousness, which is the witness. As we discussed many times, we have to always keep in mind, there are two I's, not EYE, but the letter I. Small letter I, big letter I. Small letter I is, I am so and so, I am eating, I am moving, I am in the waking, dream, I am sleeping, etc., etc. And remember also, when you are sleeping, are you aware that you are sleeping? Most definitely you are aware of it. But I don't know. And that is why you say that I slept well. If you are asked, who slept? Did XYZ come and sleep in your place? No, I slept only. So that I is there. And how do you know you slept? Because I am completely aware I am sleeping. And we have to understand it, think over it, meditate upon it. So, just like a pot which is broken, and the pot space is comparable to our ignorance, and we feel that just when the pot is broken, pot space says, now I am relieved, I am becoming one, until now I am separate from the Bahya Akasha, Ghata Akasha and Bahya Akasha. Now, no, I was never broken. That realization will come. So, even from the academic point of view, scientific point of view, even that pot which seems to divide space into inner and outer, and that which makes it seemingly divided is also a product of the space only. Everything in this universe is a product of the 5 elements: the space, the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. This is the example this Amrita Bindu Rishi wants to give. Various forms like pots are broken again and again, and yet the space in the pot doesn't know. That is, what does it not know? That I was never broken, I am the space, because it is completely aware. I was never confined within the pot. Then who is telling? I am saying it is a pot space. Pot space is not telling that I am a pot space. Continuing, but he, the self, in case of individual bodies, always knows. The pot is an inert thing. But a person who practices spiritual disciplines, contemplation, especially on Omkara, as we have seen earlier, Swara, Sa Janati Cha Nityashaha, continuously there is a Chit and there is a Chidabhasa. Chit is pure, unlimited I, and there is a reflection. Reflection always indicates something original, a reflecting medium, and the resultant of whatever is reflected. The reflected, the reflecting medium, and that which is being reflected, all these 3 things are implied in Chidabhasa, or reflected consciousness. Whereas pure consciousness is devoid of all these 3, Triputi. So, our emphasis on sadhana will be, I am not the waker, I am not the dreamer, I am not the sleeper, as we have seen earlier. I am completely what is called three avasthas. Vilakshanaha. Avastha traya vilakshanaha means completely different. Now here different means if there are 4 trees, I am not the 4 trees, I am the 5th tree. Not in that way. I am the essence, the existence of the very tree. I do not call myself as trees. I call myself as existence. In that sense only, that is called the witnessing self. We have to emphasize upon that. Do it either Aham Brahmasmi, one method. Another method is, O Lord, I do not exist separate from you. I belong to you. That is called complete self-surrender. Either way, this was what we discussed. But is it really possible for us to understand this? Only those who have advanced in spiritual life, that is possible. And one of the Swamis, he illustrates this very beautifully. He was a disciple of Swami Chinmayananda. So one of the questions asked is, when did ignorance start? How did it start? What time it started? What caused it to start? And after many years of listening to one great soul, Tapovan Maharaj, he was in fact a disciple of Swami Brahmanandaji Maharaj. And incidentally, today is the birthday of Swami Brahmanandaji Maharaj. And he was a great tapasvi, austere person. He used to live in Vasishta Guha, Himalayas. And Swami Chinmayananda went and studied scriptures under him. We don't know who asked. He might have been as well asking this question. From whence did ignorance come? He was told, did you come here all the way to me to seek ignorance or knowledge? Do you want knowledge of ignorance or do you want knowledge? So, naturally the answer will be, I have come only to seek knowledge, because every other type of knowledge is ignorance only, excepting self-knowledge. So do not ask how ignorance started. Ask how we can end it. And this is what Sri Ramakrishna tells us. What is he telling us? This is the summary. That Maya, its very nature, it is not an object. It is something mysterious. It exists and it doesn't also exist. It is neither pure existence nor pure non-existence. It is something, so Sat and Asat, completely different from this. And the technical word for it is Mithya. Sri Ramakrishna is telling, is it possible to understand God's action and his motives? God's action means Maya actually. And does God have any motives? So our understanding is he creates, he preserves, and he destroys. And why does he do that? Why does he want to? Swamiji refers to this concept and ask me a logical question. How can the infinite ever become finite? It is an illogical question. Ask me a logical question, I will answer also logically. So, can we ever understand? So, whenever we are asking, through what is the instrument? Our mind. And our mind is very limited. How can we understand the very actions of the unlimited? Does he really act? Does God really create, sustain, and destroy? The categorical answer is no. So long as we are ignorant of him, we think he does it. But even when he does it, there is a peculiar expression used here. What is that expression? In the presence of fire, everything gets burned. If you ask fire, why do you burn? The fire will not answer because it says it doesn't, of course, even listen to you, hear to you. It doesn't have ears. But if you suppose that it can hear and then it answers, I am burning. What am I burning? Because in the very presence of fire, everything gets burned. Anything that goes near becomes completely burned. And fire reduces everything to fire only. And finally, it subsides. So you ask a magnet, a huge magnet, why do you attract a big ship full of nails? It will be surprised. Ask the sun, why do you give so much of light and heat? And the sun will be surprised. So just like you approach a fragrant flower and say, why are you giving so much of fragrance? And the flower will be more than surprised. Am I giving fragrance? I don't know whether it is a legitimate question or doubt. So does the jasmine flower know that it is jasmine flower and it is very fragrant jasmine flower? Does it know it? I'm not sure about it. Anyway, it is impartial. Fragrance comes to anybody who has the capacity to smell, and so long as the wind carries it and we can smell it, and we say the fragrance is coming and the jasmine flower is spreading the fragrance, but in fact it doesn't know anything. So similarly, if you go to Ramana Maharshi and say, so why are you giving so much of peace of mind to all of us? He will go to pieces if he tries to answer your query. No, it is just a nature. That is why it is called. Why is water cold? It is its nature. Why is water liquid? It is its nature. Why doesn't it have color? It is its nature. So, impossible, Maya doesn't do anything. Maya is the mind of God working, simply. And does God have a mind like us? Because if he has a mind, it is limited. But these are all questions from a ignorant mind, a limited mind. And a limited mind, we should understand, can never ask about anything that is unlimited. It can only ask about something limited. That is what Sri Ramakrishna says. It's impossible to understand. That's why he says, I say to the Divine Mother, O Mother, I do not need to understand. Please give me love for thy lotus feet. What does this love mean? Love means oneness. I remind you, so Swami Vivekananda gives this beautiful example. He must have heard and remembered. There was a lover, and one day this man approached his beloved, and she was in a hut, and the door was closed. He knocked at the door. From within came the question, who are you? Who is it? And he said, it is me. And there was no answer. Door did not open. Second time, same thing happened. Third time he asked. Then this time he answered, it is thou, O my beloved. Not me, but thou. And he found there was no door at all. Beautiful, meaningful Sufi story. So the moment I disappear, then what remains is that pure, whatever you call, knowledge, self, Brahman, Atma, Paramatma, God, whatever you call it. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says, Bhakti means self-surrender. Surrender means complete destruction of that individual I. So Sri Ramakrishna says, the aim of human life is to attain bhakti. As for other things, the mother alone knows best. And then he becomes very practical. This is called practical Vedanta. I have come to the garden to eat mangoes. What is the use of my calculating the number of trees, branches and leaves? I only eat the mangoes. I don't need to know the number of trees and leaves. If I can somehow or other obtain the mangoes, and what is the mango here? The knowledge that Aham Brahmasmi. So, the next mantra, 15th mantra, tries to explain why it is that the Atman, which is omniscient, is not aware of its own true nature, which is Sat Chit Ananda, existence, knowledge, bliss. Now the Guru shows us the answer is not given. Why it is not aware, nobody can answer. But a Guru can show how we can destroy the ignorance. Along with the destruction of ignorance, all the questions will also disappear. 15th mantra, that is what that illustrates. Shabdamaya vruto naiva tamasa yati pushkare bhinne tamasicha ekatvam ekam eva anupashyati. Supposing there is a spiritual aspirant, and at this moment, what is his nature? Being covered by Maya, which is in the form of a sound, it does not, through darkness, know the Akasha, blissful one. When ignorance is rent asunder, it being then itself only knows the unity. Peculiar words are used here. So Maya, in this particular month, 15th mantra, is equated with Shabda. Shabda means word. What does it mean? The word Maya, how do we know? Because it is a thought. Accepting it is a thought, there is no Maya. Only the thought exists, Maya doesn't exist. And we are deceived. So first we think about it. The Guru also tells, because of Maya, you are ignorant, you are limited, and you undergo so much of suffering, etc. And the suffering includes even happiness. Why? Because happiness goads a man to further similar activities which bring more happiness. So he says, Shabda Maya Vruto Naiva. So this Maya is nothing but pure sound. And if you have not heard the sound, you will not even know. But that is not the truth in our day-to-day experience. Even if we do not know anything about Maya, we are experiencing every day. We are becoming older, we are becoming less energetic, we are becoming disappointed, failures are there, unhappiness is there, everything changes. And if anything should illustrate this fact very clearly, the present wars that are going on, almost like Third World Wars, should open our eyes. Nobody knows. A man is here now, suddenly some bomb falls, some gunshot, and the person is no more. This is our condition. That is why I always insist, until now, I am okay. So, Shabda Maya Vrutaha, because we are all deluded by this Shabda called Maya, Naiva Tamasa Yati Pushkare. Tamasa means ignorance, Yati, that is, we understand. What do we understand? We do not understand. Naiva Yati. We do not understand in which condition we are. A madcap doesn't know he is a madcap. And here peculiar word is there, Pushkare. Pushkara means a lake, a body of water. But here it means space. Space means what? Atman. So Pushkare means Atman. So when we are covered with ignorance, naturally we think we are limited body minds, therefore I am not the Atman. When a person says I am the Atman, he merely means that I am the body mind. But when a realized soul says I am Atman, he is telling I don't have any body mind. In fact, that is our expression. Because a realized soul need not say I don't have body mind. He doesn't even remember. At one time he was a spiritual aspirant and now he has obtained that state. Bhinne tamasicha. In this ignorance, bhinna means what? Separation is one meaning. Complete destruction is another meaning. So we will take it in this second sense. Tamasi means ignorance. Ignorance means maya. Maya means words expressed. So when this ignorance is totally destroyed. And how can? Tamasi also means darkness. So just as in darkness, we cannot distinguish two separate objects. Even if a tiger is sitting nearby, we cannot understand it is a tiger. So there is a very nice saying in Sanskrit language. A man was walking in a kind of small forest. Suddenly he saw a multicolored rope. Said, how fortunate I am. Let me go before anybody else grabs. He went and grabbed it, and a surprised tiger turned back and looking askance at this fellow. So, in darkness, we do not understand anything at all. In fact, that is not the truth. Ignorance means not absence of knowledge, but absence of right knowledge. The presence of wrong knowledge is called Maya. So we understand three types of understanding. Right, or rather 4 types of understanding are there. Every knowledge is divided into four types of classification. How? Right knowledge, completely wrong knowledge, and partial or misunderstanding, and what is called completely opposite understanding. So how many forms it can take? So bhinne tamasicha. So when this ignorance goes away, what happens? Body mind disappear. What happens? It is through this body mind we experience the world. And when the body mind is not there, just like in our deep sleep, is a kind of example, not real example, the whole world disappears. Am I a married person? Am I a single person? Am I a parent? Am I a happy person? Am I a king? Am I a pauper? Am I a pandit? Am I an ignorant person? Am I a person? All these things will be completely disappear because there is no mind, temporarily of course. So That is why so much of peace is there. And not only that, that is the only time we give so much of peace to other people also and happiness also. So when this ignorance is totally destroyed, and what can destroy darkness? Only light. What can destroy ignorance? Only knowledge. What happens then? Ekatvam eka eva anupashyati. Only eva. Ekatvam eva anupashyati. That one incontrovertible truth. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Alone is there. So this word Maya is a very beautiful word. This is an Advaitic creation. Remember, it doesn't exist in dualistic philosophies. Ramanuja doesn't accept Maya. Whatever the waking state is real creation. The dream is also real creation. The deep sleep is also real creation. According to dualists, everything is real. It is only Advaita in order to slope over. What is the sloping over? So the question comes, if Brahman is all-knowing, how did it become suddenly ignorant? How does it become creator and sustainer and destroyer? Oh, it is because of Maya. Oh, where from Maya has come? Second thing called Maya. This is your question itself, because you are under Maya. When you get out of Maya, you don't ask any questions out of Maya. In other words, if a strong man is pestered by a weak man, simply the strong man glares and says, one more pip from you and I will shoot you down. This is what Advaita wants to tell. But for the explanation of Maya, Maya works through two powers. And all of you who are listening must be completely aware of it. One is called Avarana Shakti. First, it covers the truth. Secondly, it projects it into something totally different. Take the classic example of a rope being mistaken for a snake. What does it do? First of all, Maya, what does it do? It covers the rope. And then what does it do? It projects that very rope to something that looks similar. A rope is never projected as an elephant, as a human being, as a bear, as anything else. It is always projected something similar to it, like it could be a garland, and it could be a bent piece of stick, it could be a crack in the earth with a little bit of water coming out of it, like leaky pipe, or a snake, depends upon whatever thought is arising in the mind. So, this first, ignorance covers the rope, and second, it projects into something else. These are the two powers of Maya. And somehow we are caught in this Maya. So this is what this 15th mantra wants to tell us. Just as a man, though possessed of his senses and faculties, cannot find a particular thing, however near he is, if he is blinded by darkness. So the Atman doesn't know its own nature as existence, knowledge, bliss, because of the covering of Maya. But we should not misunderstand this statement. So the Atman also becomes ignorant? No. From our viewpoint, this is our explanation. Somehow Atma has forgotten. How do we say Atma has forgotten? Because we are very much habituated to forget many things, including the timings of my classes and all those things. And therefore, we also say, probably Atman also is something like me. So we always get knowledge of other things only by comparison. Second, or just as the space shut up within the jar knows not that it is the same as the infinite Akasha, as if the pot space is ignorant. It doesn't know that I am Mahakasha, but thinks I am the pot because it has gone into the pot, it has gone to pot, and therefore it thinks I am a pot space. So the individual soul also, being covered by the darkness of Maya, which is body and mind, and identification with body mind, doesn't know his real nature. But when the pot or jar is broken, there remains the one infinite Akasha. Similarly, when the covering of Maya is rent asunder by knowledge, the Atman shines in its own essence of the one only without a second. Just I want to remind you one beautiful example here. You see, this happens only at daytime. The sun is shining fiercely, and suddenly a dark cloud covers a lot of space, covers the sun. So we say that the sun is covered. It is a wrong expression. The sun is not covered. My eyesight is covered. Even a small finger, if I put in front of my eye, the whole world is covered. So the production of the cloud is only because of the sun. And the projection or the revelation that it is a cloud is possible because of the sunlight. Because at dead of night, when it is fully dark, you don't know whether there is a cloud or not. So the producer and also the revealer of the cloud is the sun only. But what do we say? That the sun is covered. First wrong expression. My eyesight is covered. That's what we say. And secondly, that the very revelation of the cloud is possible only the cloud proves the very existence of the sun. So what does that imply? It implies that our day-to-day experience, any second's experience, here is a tree, and the tree is possible only because it exists. That existence part of the tree is belonging to Brahman. And the knowledge of the tree, knowledge part of the tree belongs to the knowledge of Brahman. And the happiness or unhappiness that we experience as a result of our interaction with that particular tree is also an expression of the Ananda. How does it become Ananda? It is not that there are two absolutes called unhappiness and happiness. Less happiness is called unhappiness. Less unhappiness is called happiness. The thing is only. So a beautiful illustration is given. So there was a skeptic or atheist, and a tumbler with 50% of water in it is presented to him. So imagine there is a skeptic or there is a atheist and a believer. And you ask the non-believer, how much water is there? What about the tumbler? He says, oh, it is already half empty. And if you ask the believer, oh, still half of the tumbler is having water. These are two ways of understanding because of our attitudes, positive and negative. This is what this mantra wants to say, that Maya alone reveals the self. This is the Sri Ramakrishna's contribution. According to Advaita, Maya destroys self-knowledge. According to Sri Ramakrishna, it is only through Maya. How does it happen? Simple psychological fact. Supposing you don't know anything and you don't even know that you don't know anything, then the quest for knowledge will not arise. The first condition for the shining of knowledge is you should be able to say, I am very much aware that I am ignorant. I am having knowledge of my own ignorance. That's the first awakening. And then how to remove this ignorance? So avidya maya, in Sri Ramakrishna's words, is a preparation so that it can make us fit people to put that inquiry, sharpen our intellect, make our mind pure, and make the body and mind strong enough with enough willpower. I am ignorant. I would like to remove this ignorance. And what can remove ignorance? Only knowledge. So I must obtain the knowledge. For that I must do certain practices. Just like ill health can be removed only by following the prescription of the physician. So avidya, the role of avidya is not to destroy us, but to prepare ourselves, make us fit. This is what is called adhikari. Thereafter vidya maya, at that which takes us to the reality, is mentioned. So that is what we need to understand. But one important fact mentioned in this 15th mantra is, we are inundated with words. Now this chat GPT has come. Everybody is running after it. And do they put a question, how can I realize Atman? No. It's how can I cheat the other fellows? How can I hoodwink other people? How can I rob banks, etc.? And this is called the dark side of the knowledge. Dark net, it is also called. So, there is a beautiful Vivek Chudamani, is a most marvelous book, I tell you. There Shankaracharya doesn't go into the theories too much, but practically how we can remove ignorance. That is why it is called the crest jewel of discrimination. Discrimination means the division between ignorance and knowledge, how to overcome the ignorance and obtain. And there he says, Shabdajalam Maharanyam Chitta Brahmana Karanam. This is, I think, Vivek Chudamani, Shloka number 60. Shabdajalam. Everywhere, whenever you open internet, Shabdas, words. And this is Hamas. This is Israelis. These are what is called demons. These are angels. And these people are fighting for their rights. Other people are trying to destroy it. We belong to one or the other party. And everybody wants to read. Not satisfied with one newspaper, but any number of newspapers. And every newspaper, according to Sri Ramakrishna, increases ignorance only. Shabda Jalam. We are all taken in by Maya, manifests in the form of Shabda. This is a pot. That is Shabda. You are a human being. There is another Shabda. Why do we say so? When we are in deep sleep, who is a tiger, who is a man, who is ignorant, who is learned, already deceived. But words have unbelievable power. How the crowds are driven like animals, like sheep, driven by sheepdogs. One fellow comes and gives, if you want, just look at how Hitler talks. There is a joke comes to my mind. One day, a person was walking in front of a church at 7 o'clock in the evening. Suddenly he found somebody's diary had slipped and it was lying. So this man, out of curiosity, lifted it up and he found it was the priest of the diary of the local priest. And out of curiosity he started. So next to Sunday's talk, very many plausible, rational arguments are there. Speak very softly. And the week after, there is no logical basis, shout. So these people who do not believe themselves, they deceive themselves, they also deceive others. And in simple one line, Shabda Jalam Maharanyam is a huge forest and impenetrable Once you are dropped into it, you don't know whether you come to the right or left or whatever it is. Chitta Brahmana Karakam. And you are totally confused. Already you are fused. Now you are confused and you don't know how to come out of it. And that reminds me, a beautiful incident. Swami Akhandanandaji was very fond of moving in the Himalayas. So once he went to one Chandramukhi, very on the top of a mountain, there was a small temple, and one has to cross with the forests. So some people helped him to reach there, and they left. And only the priest comes in the morning, does the puja, and because it is full of leopards and other things, and finishes the puja quite early, and by afternoon he leaves. And Akhandanandaji liked this spot very much. He wanted to stay there. Of course, it has grill so that no animal can enter. And he was happily given permission by the priest. And he was given some prasadam of the mother. And happily, he spent his whole night in beautiful meditation. And Himalayas full of spiritual vibrations. Next morning, at about 9 o'clock, when the sun rises, because you can see the light only at about 9 o'clock. And then he asked how to go down. And the priest gave the instructions. And after few minutes, Swami Akhandananda lost in that forest. And he doesn't know what is east, west, south, north. So, Sankatakale Venkataramana. When there is nobody else, then only God alone is the refuge. So what did he do? He closed his eyes, prayed to Sri Krishna, and whirled round and round for a few minutes, only remembering Sri Krishna. What was his idea? After some time, suddenly I will come to a stop. And whichever direction I am facing, I will walk through it. Because that is what the result of Sri Krishna's grace. He will make me face the right direction. And he did that, and he faced the direction. He started walking according to his resolve, and after a few minutes, he came to the edge of a huge mountain, and it was a very steep mountain, and he decided he could see the fields below, people working. So he just sat down and catching hold of small shrubs, he started sliding down. Believe it or not, within 10 to 15 minutes, he was down. He did not leave the directions for us to take the same path. And some people looked up startled. Swami, where from are you coming? Coming from Chandramukhi temple. And they said this is the first time that anybody had happened to come. And they had some food with them, and it was becoming known. He was very hungry because the prasadam must not have been sufficient. So they shared, and Swami Akhandanandaji was narrating this one. So Shabda Jalam Maharanyam, it is like a huge forest. Who is right? Who is wrong? Very difficult to understand. And we are just following, brainwashed by one newspaper or the other. We do not have independent opinions. That is what we have. But what is important, words have unbelievable power. Once, a Swami was challenged by a person. Words do not have any power. And the Swami pretended to be very angry and shouted, "You are a scoundrel." And this man, who was first time comer, his face turned purple. He was already white, now he turned purple. And then the Swami laughed and said, "See, you said words have no power. I just said scoundrel, and your whole personality has changed. Now do you believe mantras have the power?" And he had no option but willy-nilly to accept words have power. Words have tremendous power. Whatever words we are hearing, we take it for truth. That is why there is a saying. So if a untruth is repeated often enough, it becomes more than truth. But there are certain types of words that is called the words of the Guru. and words of the scriptures, and especially when they come through the mouth of a right teacher. The scripture reveals itself and says, and takes us out of this forest of words. And that is why all the words are completely condensed, compressed only into 3 words. Tat, Tvam, Ashi. Thou art that. And through meditation, the disciple realizes the truth and declares uncategorically, Aham Brahma Asmi. Again 3 words. I am Brahman. But the Shabdas have tremendous power. And that is what Mantra 16 wants to explain. Shabdaksharam Param Brahma Tasmin Kshine Et Aksharam Tad Vidvan Aksharam Dhyayet Edichet Shantim Atmanah. The Om as word is first looked upon as the Supreme Brahman. And after that word idea has vanished, that imperishable Brahman alone remains. Therefore, the wise one should meditate on that imperishable Brahman if he desires the peace of his soul. Marvelous mantra again. So do not be taken away by so many words, but there is one word which can take us out of all the words, which can help us across the ocean of the words and their different distracting meanings, and that is called Om. So this is called Aksharam. So first you take the Omkara. Earlier also we had a reference in that Swaram. And Om consists of A, U and Ma. And whatever words are there in the whole world, whichever language, everything has to pass through this sound box. So Omkara represents everything. First you take the help of the word itself, Om. Meditate on Akara. What is Akara? The whole physical body. And then Makara, Ukara. What is the Ukara? The subtle mind, subtle part of the mind. Mind itself is subtle, but mind has 2 divisions, the causal mind and the subtle mind. The physical, through physical body, or rather through the causal mind and the subtle mind, plus the physical body, we experience the waking state. Through the causal mind and the subtle mind, we experience the dream state, and through the causal part of the mind, we experience the deep sleep part of it. Just as when we look at a seed, we cannot understand what is within that seed. We have to wait. So that is why it is called causal body. Causal body. So Shabdaksharam Param Brahma. First one go on meditating. I am not A, which is I am not the Sthola Sharira. I am not U, I am not the subtle body called mind. And Ma, I am not the causal body. But in order to achieve that perfection, we have to go on dwelling upon it. But a time will come when a person understands I am not the 3 bodies. What is called gross body, subtle body, causal body. And I who say I am not of the 3 bodies, that is called pure consciousness. Tasmin Kshine. And one crosses over that particular contemplation, which until now is only dependent upon the word. What happens? What remains at that stage? Tasmin Kshine. When a person succeeds in crossing over these 3, identification with these 3 bodies, what remains? Yat Aksharam. Kshine means when it is crossed over or when it is left over, like the pole which is used in pole vault is completely removed. What remains? Aksharam. Aksharam means imperishable, the Brahman alone. Tad Vidvan Aksharam Dhyayet. Thereafterwards, one has to meditate upon Aksharam, and that is when the Nididhyasanam will come. And who can do it or who should do it? Yadichet Shantim Atmanah. One who desires peace of mind, he should be able to do it. The summary essence of this 16th mantra is that we cannot simply jump and reach God. We have to go through first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. What am I talking about? The Ashta Anga Yoga. Ashta Anga Yoga. That is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and then Samadhi. And then first Savikalpa, then Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So that is what I was referring to earlier. Avidya Maya is to reach that state of Savikalpa Samadhi. Savikalpa Samadhi is equivalent to Brahmakara Vritti. Only one thought is there after eliminating all other thoughts, and thereafterwards I cannot do anything, only whatever happens, just like camphor, it burns, gives light, burns, and self-destructs. Like that, what remains is that pure Brahman. And here we must remember that this is exactly what Holy Mother was telling, 5 commandments of the Holy Mother. First commandment is, if you want peace of mind, if you truly wish peace of mind, then 4 practices have to be done. First, stop finding fault with others. That is, do not get attached to anything. And start finding fault with yourself. That means with your body, with your mind, with your what is called causal body. Find out these are all limited. It is my association, my attachment to them, that is keeping me in bondage. And then this is the negative methodology. Then 2 positive methods. No one is a stranger. That means there is no I and you separation. And realize that everything is God. That is Aham Brahmasmi. A beautiful thought. We will explore it in our next class. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuho. May Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swami Vivekananda bless us all with bhakti. Jai Ramakrishna.